I never stop.
Hey, fuckers. Welcome to another episode of Guys We Fucked.
The anti-slut shaming and sexual assault podcast.
I'm Christina.
I changed it. Well, I mean, no, I'm sorry. Society changed it. I'm Corinne.
Hey, when in doubt, don't pull your dick out.
Oh, I thought I was going to say, when in doubt, they did it.
When in doubt, believe them. They're probably telling the truth. Statistically, they are. Hey, come see us live, you guys.
Oh.
L.A., sunny, Los Angeles. We're almost sold out for that show, by the way.
Sorry, I saw that it said my name. I was just so excited to get to talk about sexual assault some more that I forgot we were doing, this kind
Intro.
of stuff on the podcast. Yeah, so we're almost sold out. Sunday, November 19th. It's 8:30 p.m. Los Angeles in the Comedy Store in the main room. So get your tickets now. It's going to be Christina, myself, and then some special guests who you might know from the podcast.
And it's called Fucked, a Book Mitzvah. Jews. Hey, New York City, Saturday, December 2nd. Wendy Starling and I are co-hosting Glamour Puss at Zinc Bar. It is going to be an incredible show with a lineup of some of my favorite people that you've heard on this podcast. It's at 7:30 p.m. in the West Village. Beautiful. Ooh, yeah, who's horny? I know. Who got a boner from that? At the Zinc Bar is a beautiful jazz bar. It's one of my favorite places in the city. And it's a fun show. You don't want to miss it.
Nashville, Tennessee, Friday, December 8th, and Saturday, December 9th. Wow.
I typed Monday.
Our promo sheet's jacked. Friday, December 8th, and Saturday, December 9th. Christina and I are co-headlining Zanies. Come. This is the most stand-up you'll ever have seen us done, unless you've snuck into our apartments. So it's going to be very fun.
If you've overheard me in a shower, you've probably seen me do longer time.
Little early holiday present for you guys. And then Seattle, Washington, on New Year's Eve, I am co-headlining Parlor Live with comedian Steve Byrne, who I fucking love. He has some of the best jokes that explain the man-woman relationship that I've ever heard. Very excited. We'll put the link to all these things so you can get tickets in the description of the podcast, and then we'll also be tweeting them and Instagramming them on social media.
Oh, and the book competition.
Oh, yes. Oh, the big winner of the book competition. Thank you so much for supporting us with sales of Fucked. I mean, don't stop buying the book. It's still on sale.
Yeah, keep buying it. It's like real good, and get it for your niece, your nephew.
Yeah. And the big winner is the Pacific.
Which we're going to be at. We want to find, if you live in the Pacific Northwest, basically it's California, Seattle, and Oregon.
Yeah, so in that area, if there's we're going to hit the major cities just organically from bookings that our agents are getting us. But if there's a place where you feel either could really use a show like Guys We Fucked to come and do the free show that we promised you, we're going to make good on this, or a place that you really think there's a cool spot that we would like, because we want to kind of do a weird spot. It should seat a couple hundred people, so it can't be your house. And
well, unless you're a millionaire.
Yeah, and so send us a message. We're looking for kind of the opinions of the fuckers. And I know everyone's just going to email and be like, my town.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be San Francisco, Los Angeles.
If you live in a major
Seattle.
city, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So if you live in a smaller city, but that's more than 10 people, let us know about that city that we might not know about. A town, maybe even.
Yeah.
A town. We'll come to a town.
A lot of people ask, we didn't make the New York Times bestseller list. I didn't realize there's only 5 books per category for that. And the fact that we were considered, I'm very excited. The book sales were amazing, though. And HarperCollins, our publisher, was like, holy shit, you guys are... the sales are great, and those lists have a lot more to do with multiple factors. Sales is obviously one of them, and we did crush that. So thank you all so much for buying the book and for emailing us and tweeting us about it and messaging us that you liked it. I'm glad you liked it.
Right, and I mean, one of the 5 books was Hillary Clinton.
So it's okay.
Yeah, but we did, and we had a number in our head of the amount of books that we wanted to sell, and we
exceeded it.
We trampled that number. Yeah. So that's all we can ask for, and also the book is great. So
we're gonna do some ads real quick, but if you don't want to listen, you just press the fast forward. Hey, you got an ass? Everyone has an ass. And you gotta make your ass look good, even if you have jeans over top what you got underneath. I'm talking about underwear. You knew that. You knew where I was going. MeUndies makes feel-good undies your butt will be proud to wear. They will be the most comfortable pair of underwear you will ever own, and to check it out yourself, you just go to MeUndies.com/GWF with tons of styles and patterns to choose from for both men and ladies. MeUndies will have the perfect fit for any personality. The MeUndies feeling is unmatched because they use a naturally soft fabric that is 3 times softer than cotton. For a limited time only, check out MeUndies' first ever glow-in-the-dark print, Lights Out. Why not update your underwear drawer and glow at the same time? I've asked myself that so many times. If the underwear isn't your thing, if underwear is not your thing, MeUndies also makes the softest socks in the fucking world. Every pair of underwear that I have put on my body for the past year has exclusively been MeUndies. It's because they ship it to us every time they get a new pattern. But honestly, it is the most comfortable underwear I've ever owned, and it's not bulky. It's truly exceptional underwear, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. To get 20% off the best and softest underwear and socks you will ever own, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/GWF. That's MeUndies.com/GWF.
We get it. Holiday shopping can be tough.
I was like, what?
But thanks to movement, all that gift-giving anxiety can disappear with the press of a button.
Oh my God.
Well, I was going to make a gun joke there.
I was going to make a clit joke.
All right, they're going to love this ad.
It's fine. It's great.
These watches make the perfect purchase for just about anyone in your life, guy or girl. Well, that's not inclusive. And remember, they start at only $95. You have heard me talk about movement, and I'm sure you got yourself a watch by now. So now let's finish your holiday shopping and get a movement watch for someone on your list.
You didn't, you're a loser.
The holiday shopping season is here, and with movement, you can skip the crowds, which that is a plus, and standing in crazy lines, and find a gift they'll love at prices that beat department stores. Movement watches start at just $95. At a department store, you're looking at $400 to $500 for a watch that doesn't suck. Movement figured out that by selling watches online, they were able to cut out the middleman and retail markup, providing the best possible price. In all honesty, I mean, you're going to probably be buying a lot of gifts in the $100 range for people that you love, but don't know anything about. So may I suggest a watch?
Yeah.
Right? That's something we all have, unless you're like, it's like a cuckoo relative who thinks time is just a constraint.
Which, like, they're not, like, wrong, but, like, yeah.
I mean, you can get them a watch. It doesn't matter. Classic design, quality construction, and styled minimalism at such great prices. Movement watches make wonderful holiday gifts. Over 1 million watches have sold in over 160 countries.
Damn, didn't even know there were that many.
Yeah. So get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movement.com. They spell it MVMT.com.
Fuck Val.
/GWF. This watch has a clean design and it makes a great fashion statement. Now it's time to step up your watch game. Go to MVMT.com/GWF. Oops. And join the movement. You know what it is. If I see one more fucking tweet asking us what our goddamn discount code is,
how about you press rewind?
But it's literally always GWF.
Always GWF. I honestly want to make them more complicated. That's not going to help. The companies aren't going to want that.
The companies won't like it, but you know
I
what?
will.
It will be so satisfactory to us because it's like the listening kids. If we want to make a point about the millennials, if we want to do better, we're all busy yelling at old white man. You know what? An old white man has never once tweeted me and asked me what the fucking discount code was. So I'm going to say that.
That's actually a very accurate point.
You know, Stacey.
Maybe they know where the rewind button is. You know? Hey, stop looking at your fucking phone for the time. You look at your phone for everything. What am I going to eat? Who's going to pick me up to take me to my friend's house? Who liked my thing on social media? Maybe for the time, and you look at your own body. The movement watching your own body. That's like an 8-minute hour. I don't care.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. Alfred had his birthday party.
Yes, my little baby, Sir Alfred Hitchcock, had his first birthday party. As usual, I maybe took it a little too far.
Nah, not far enough. It was far enough, but it was good.
It was, I footed quite a bill, and but it was great. Yeah, but it was great. I let Alfred pick the theme through his actions. Obviously, he didn't tell me. Because like me,
Shit on one of these printouts, and that's the one I'm not going to go with.
I would have done something like very avant-garde, but Alfred just loves this show, The Hunt on Nat Geo. He loves this show. It's his favorite show. He like, if you follow me on social media, you know Alfred. This is a dog who truly watches TV. I've never seen an animal concentrate and pay attention.
He really does.
And be still and engaged.
He was sleeping on the couch when I babysat him, and I put on this. There's a show on fucking Netflix that looks like Puppies and Kittens, and I'm like, what? And then I put it on, and he immediately perked up and watched the whole thing. I'm like, what you thinking?
Yeah.
You wanna fuck one of them? What's going on? What's going on in that little head of yours?
Yeah, he won't stop looking at them. So we did a wild animal jungle theme. Shout out to Puppy Parties NYC. If you're mentally ill like me and you want to throw your dog a party, great place.
And you know what? I never would have got to meet all my friends' dogs had it not been for Sir Alfred Hitchcock's birthday party.
That's a great, because I see all these dogs that our friends have on social media, and to meet them in real life, honestly, was like meeting celebrities.
Yeah, because you hear about them and you see pictures of them all the time.
They're so cute. You just want to cuddle the shit out of them.
You want to pet them.
Can't. But then when your crazy friend throws a very expensive dog party, it kind of guilts everyone into, spending the money on that cab to take their dog out of the house. There was big dogs, small dogs, medium dogs. It was great. We played dog musical chairs. There was a hand-painted dog cake by Dog Cakes for Dogs. I mean, whoa! None of these people are made me or asking me to say this, but I just truly had such a wonderful experience. It was, how was a party with how many dogs were there? There was 8 dogs there. And everything ran...
And a baby.
So smoothly.
Yeah. No shits on the floor.
Yeah.
They all shit outside.
More smoothly than any human party I've ever been to from childhood to adulthood. No fights, no crying,
True.
no injuries.
And the dogs are so honest with each other because they don't like you. They just don't fucking talk to you.
Right.
They'll sniff your ass and they'll get a picture of who you are as a person or a dog. And then they'll be like, yeah, I'm good.
It was wonderful. And then and CBS did come because they heard...
I was like, you would have press at your dog party.
I didn't ask for it.
So funny.
The puppy party place was like...
That's what I figured.
They said, well, CBS had been working on a story on us, and they said, your party seems a little over the top. Would you mind if CBS came? And I said, can I plug that I'm a comedian? And they said yes. And then I said, you're on.
Yeah.
They plugged, I think, the guys we fucked to CBS because the girl ultimately,
really?
she was a young woman. And she didn't realize at the time who we were. But then when she went back to write the story, she's like, oh, I've heard of you guys before.
Oh, cool.
So there's a link in my Instagram if you guys want to watch it. I will leave it up because the segment is adorable. There was a ball crawl. I mean, come on. I've never seen... I just let Alfred power eat 3 pieces of cake because he ate his own.
Aww.
And then I guess some dogs aren't as into food. I don't get that.
Losers.
And then he just raced to the next plate and then the next plate. And then I was like, when am I a bad parent? But he was fine. He didn't throw up or anything. He just
was he tired?
Very full and very tired. And then James was like, he's so heavy right now.
Oh, because he's so much cake in his
so
belly.
Full of cake.
Aww.
Yeah, it's fine. You can have one crazy food day. Just my mom's like, yeah, just like a human can have one crazy food day, a dog can have one crazy food day and be totally fine.
Yeah.
So it was great. I'm glad everyone had a great time. It was just everything I ever dreamed of.
Corinne and I went to yesterday. We're recording this a couple days before it's getting released. To Glamour's Women of the Year. We were invited to their first ever summit, and it was a summit, and then it was a Women of the Year awards, which I've heard of. I know it's been 27
Very
years
famous.
going. Yeah. And they were like, you can walk the carpet, and I was like, shut up, really? Okay. But the seminar was from 8 to 4. The red carpet was somewhere like 5:30, and so we had to have a makeup artist come over our home separately at 6 a.m. And I was very worried because I didn't think I was going to get up. Because remember that time I missed the flight?
Yeah, but I mean, the makeup artist would be buzzing your buzzer.
Yeah, and Steven was here, so he'd be like, fucking get up!
Right.
Which was like, so it's safety net. And I was just worried I was going to be cranky and mean because I don't talk in the mornings. I just
you are a
get
little
up.
scary in the morning.
Scary?
A little. I just be extra careful around you in the morning.
And I was nervous, but then, so my alarm clock on my phone, it randomly picked a song from my iTunes library, and for whatever reason, it picked Some Nights by Fun. And so for the past week, I could have easily changed it, but I forgot every time I set my alarm. And then every fucking morning, I would be waking up to some nights and I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, that's a
And
terrifying
horrible way to
song.
wake up. So the night before this, I had to get up that early. I put Beyonce's Formation on, and I was like, I hope this is loud enough to wake me up. And boy, oh boy, got up on the first alarm. I set 4. Didn't need them, only needed 1.
There you go.
Power Beyonce, motherfuckers.
That's awesome.
Ugh.
Yeah, the summit, which was the talks in the day, were very good. We heard from a lot of women we didn't hear about, but then there were some things that were just like I worried they would be like phrases like, I've just never fit into a box. I started taking
When
notes.
it's said like that, I'm like, okay, all right. I like the lifetime of people. I don't like it.
I started just taking notes on crazy things that were happening. I left my last job to be a dancer, and I left this job, and maybe I'll leave the stage right now. I don't love the word failure. And then I said, that's a failure who is failing at dealing with their failure. But
Oh, that's like a matrixy thing to say, Corinne.
You can't define me. There was a lot of, you can't define me. There was a lot of applause breaks, and fresh and fierce were used a lot.
Yeah, and the women can do it notion. And well, there was many times. Corinne came a little later, and I'm glad she did, because the beginning, there was, I forget what it was. And there was a lot of amazing speakers that I want to get to because I took notes on. I took notes on the great stuff.
I just made fun of people in my notes.
And then when Corinne got here, the editor-in-chief of Glamour Magazine came to the stage. It was about an hour into the 8-hour summit. And she's like, okay, guys, we're gonna welcome the first man onto our stage. And then it's silence in the theater. And you just hear Corinne go, ugh, great. It was. No one thought it was funny except me. But when you get the giggles and you're real, it's like the last thing you should be doing right now is laughing.
Right.
I almost had an aneurysm. I was trying so hard to contain.
Right.
And then it was fucking Joe Biden.
This is true.
And his wife.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. Because some chick asked him about Anita Hill. And I was like, yes, bitch, ask him about Anita Hill.
Right. And then at that point when Joe Biden came out, I did rescind my ugh. But then he just kept talking, even though there was 2 other women on the stage that I was more interested in hearing from. And then now I put back into effect my ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah.
He didn't say anything wrong, but it's also when you're just having a nice women's day
and then a man ruins it.
Some guy comes in to try and tell you how to be the best woman you can be, and you're like, how
Feels
would
wrong.
you know you're literally not a woman?
It's like if a flutist. They went to fucking
A flautist?
Mm-hmm. Ugh, a pianist. Ah, shit. A violin player.
A pianist is correct.
Pianist, yeah, it just sounds too much like pianist.
Sounds too much like a man, yeah.
Not even that. It makes me giggle. A piano player will say, went to Juilliard, played the piano. It's like him telling you how to hit a baseball. It's like, just don't.
Yeah.
Just play your piano.
It's like, this is not your area of expertise.
Yeah, and the guy who's too into anti-rape culture,
right?
And you're like, all right, you already said that 5 times.
Yeah, the only reason I just I always give Joe Biden throw a couple extra things at him, as far as chances or whatever.
Yeah,
because he had a bad life.
Oh, so I didn't realize his first wife and child died in a car accident.
I knew that, and then I was reminded of it, and then to have your child then later in life die of cancer.
I mean, they're very.
That's too much.
The fact that he was as cheery and concerned. You know what I liked about what he said was that he said rape. He said women are getting raped. Women are in the workplace and they're getting sexually harassed, and no woman should have. That's not the expectation we want to set. We want to change the culture.
Right.
He did say a lot of stuff. I'm like, oh, it's so nice to hear somebody actually say the word rape.
Sure.
And say the word grab you. And then he went to say that he saw Strom Thurmond take a picture with a woman and he patted, and then his wife shut him up.
Right.
And I was like, what was he gonna say?
Right.
But I Googled it, and apparently he's a piece of shit, and it's on the internet. I mean, it's not like a secret.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think maybe
He's
he was just going off onto a tangent. Maybe I don't think his wife was saying don't say that. I think it was more he just kept talking.
He really did keep talking.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of
politician, whatever.
Yeah, it was really, really cool though to be in the same room with the most brilliant minds. Diane von Furstenberg was interviewed by Clear
Very
Wave.
impressive, yes.
This was like the day of sexy older women, like 60s and 70s.
Sexy, stylish, feeling it.
Diane von Furstenberg is, oh my God, I want to be her. That and Sheila Nevins, who's the head of documentaries at HBO. I didn't know who she was. The name of her. Did she say how old she was?
I think she's like 70.
Okay, so she, very sexy lady, just in the way, obviously the way she presents herself, but also just the way she talks. And she said the first thing of the day that I was like, thank you, and it changed the tone of the summit for me because it was a lot of girl power. We can do it. You're a princess. She's like, just because you're a woman doesn't mean you're good at shit. I'm like, thank you, Sheila. And she really...
Well, I think she's, because she's been around. She said, when I was young, feminism was cool, and then it wasn't cool, and then it was cool again. Or maybe that was the other lady, Diane von Furstenberg. I can't remember.
Some
old lady said that, and it was great.
It was amazing.
But I think the important thing was like, how rarely we get to hear from older wise women that aren't in our families.
Yeah.
Just because, the TV and movies decided that we don't want to hear from old people, so we kind of don't in a lot of ways. And I hear parents, a lot of listening going on.
Yeah, right. The Bush daughters.
Yeah, Jenna and Barbara, the Bush twins.
They were funny as fuck.
Jenna is professionally pursuing stand-up comedy, but they're fantastic. And it's kind of nice because it's just like, their father is a Republican, but it's nice. It was nice to have them be humanized.
Yeah. And one of them had talked about a time when they were younger that Vladimir Putin was at the dinner table with them at I don't know if it was their grandparents' house.
Yeah, that was
parents.
Barbara, yeah.
Barbara, and she described a story that he told about his mother and the hell she went through with the Holocaust and all this shit. And she told this story that I was like, Jesus Christ. And then it made me go, I'm actually kind of surprised that Vladimir Putin isn't more of a dick.
Right. When you hear stories about people's lives, I think it really helps you to understand their behavior and why they are the way they are.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting because I never heard that story. Fucking Maxine Waters was there. We were like 2 tables over from her. Solange. I didn't get to see her because we had to go. I had a show, but she was in the same room as me. And I'll never forget that. And Ashley Graham hosted it. There was a moment where I know most of the time professional models are mostly thin people, like really, really thin. Sometimes so thin that I'm like, duh. But that's body shaming. And Ashley Graham, who's a plus size model, who's famous, so famous and successful.
She huge? She's huge?
She's huge in her popularity, okay? I didn't mean she's fat. But she's so hot.
Yeah.
One of the hottest humans. We've seen her in person many times. One of the hottest.
We rode the subway with her, yeah.
People, and it's so. I'm sure she gets a lot of shit from people on the internet, obviously, and in the industry because I imagine plus size models deal with so much more shit than non plus size models.
Yeah,
First of all, it's fucking
like clothes not fitting. Ah!
Hey,
Woo! On fire.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was Gigi Haddad's outfit, Ashley. No, but she was talking about that, and she's really funny, and she's a really good speaker. But there was a moment where, and everyone has their own struggle. But Ashley Graham was jiggling her arm fat. She's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Be proud. I'm like, you're also like the hottest person I've ever seen.
Well, that's my issue with plus size. That's my.
I don't think someone is less attractive because of their body weight. If your face is fine,
it depends how.
If you're 600 pounds,
yes.
We can't go out on a date. You can't leave your house.
Right.
But, to me, beauty is more confidence, but also, like, if you got a hot-ass fucking face like that...
She has a
hot.
She has a hot-ass body. That's my problem. That's why I was complaining all day about plus-size models, because there were several plus-size models who weren't even, they're not even that big at these events. And then, I think the real war is on ugly women. And some women are ugly, and that's okay.
I think you would be correct on that. I was thinking about that, because when you first said it, I was like, ugh. Yeah, you're not wrong.
But some women are ugly, but because the problem is
gives
not.
A shit?
I think the issue is like we all so often talk about like, oh, everyone's beautiful. No, everyone's not aesthetically beautiful, but the problem here is that doesn't matter. That beauty,
Yes.
that physical beauty does not define your worth. Some of my favorite people are unattractive, but it doesn't matter. They have like way better qualities to bring to the table. Like if I had, like I talk about this in the book, if I had a chance to be prettier or smarter or funnier, prettier would be last.
Yeah.
I would first rather be funnier. Well, no, actually, I'm pretty funny. I would rather be smarter. So smarter would help a lot.
I want to be more smart.
I would rather be smarter and then funnier and then pretty is last. It just doesn't.
I used to think that being pretty was a top priority when I was a youth, up until my late teens for sure. I'm like, I just want to be hot. Then people like me, like girls like me, like boys like me, like everyone will like me. And it's so condescending to say like everyone's beautiful, because one, it's not true, and two, it's assuming that you give a shit about
It's
that.
putting too much value
Don't
on
tell
it.
me what I care about. And now so many people are saying it that I accidentally care about it, and you tricked me,
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah, I mean, more than being beautiful, you want to be healthy. You want to be intelligent. You want to be capable. You want to be
Skilled.
dependable. You want to be kind.
A good friend.
I mean, loyal. I mean, there's just
It's so rare.
There's 1,000 things that I would list that I would of kinds of people that I would rather have in my life than pretty people. And I'm not saying like, yeah, sure, I care about pretty, and sure, it's nice. It's nice to be around attractive people. It's nice to feel attractive. It's nice to be attractive. I'm not saying these things are nice or that I am above them. I am not.
Yeah, we all love a hot person.
Of
I mean,
course.
we love looking at the hot person.
Yes, we do. And
I love looking at hot people.
And and I'm not even saying that we should start hiring ugly people to be models, because it's like,
no, because a model is
part
a model
of
for a reason.
Being a model is that you are aesthetically beautiful, but
That's it. That should be the only requirement. Should be your face is hot. Whatever the fuck body you are. I really hate the skinny
in my opinion,
chicks.
Ashley
They're all
Graham
models.
was just hotter than anyone there. And like,
Yeah.
then you go on getting images and you look at her runway photos. I mean, her red carpet photos, and she is also like just hot. And yeah, she does have arm fat. And like, yeah, I'm sure if you watched like a porn with Ashley Graham in it, you would see a lot of jiggling. But like,
Good, that's
in my
natural.
she's just so much hotter.
You have skin.
And that's not anything against skinny people either. You guys look fucking flawless in any photo. So I mean, it's just like there's great things to everything. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes some days I love being a little bit bigger, and some days I'm like, oh, I wish I was really, really skinny. It's just, you know.
I used to always want twig legs, but then I was like, that's just not my legs.
Oh,
So I
no.
think twig legs are so cute.
See, I never
Little
wanted
knobby
that.
knees.
Yeah, I
little
just-
bony knees.
Yeah, I mean,
And then I got over it.
yeah.
I could crush
You can
a
just
lot
make
of things in
whatever
between
work.
my thighs.
Make whatever's work. All right.
Hey, remember when we were like, Louis C.K.'s jerking off in front of people unwillingly?
Right.
We were right.
Yes.
It's really weird. I was surprised that story came out. I was
I wasn't.
I mean, I don't know. It's such interesting timing, but it makes sense because all these people are like, everyone is getting out of a sexual predator, and it's great that all these people are using this opportunity as to come forward and call people out. And I think it's kind of like, I'm almost like a sitting back like Dr. Evil, but not in an evil way of like, thank God the people who have done these disgusting things are now getting the only punishment that they're ever gonna get, which is arguably worse than legal punishment, because the chances of them getting the legal punishment that they deserve is very low for sexual assault. So shaming is what's basically the only punishment. Social justice, I guess you could say.
Sure.
I don't know what you want to call it. And sometimes it feels weird and gross, but other times it's like, thank God.
I think we just have to be careful, though, with the public shaming, because I mean, and we're going to talk about this later based on an email that we received. But I was taking some notes, my thoughts on this, and again, I can't tell you enough, and it's not just because I'm obsessed with him, but how relevant John Ronson's book is in these times. So you've been publicly shamed. I know I talk about it almost every podcast.
He's
but
your
that's just-
Jesus, Beyonce's mine. It's cool.
It's just how important that book was, and how, especially as a young person or relatively young person who is, a lot of my job is me promoting myself on social media and being a social media presence. And every time I send out even like the kind of like mildly edgy tweets,
Like cats are cool.
yeah, I do close my phone and go, well, let's see if that's the tweet that ends my career. And that's a weird place to be.
It's
and
a suffocating place.
I don't think it's great. And
the reason it's not is because you don't want to second guess your art.
Yeah.
Our art is jokes. Our art is making fun of things, whether they be dark or commonplace or silly or anything. That is how that's the lens with which we look at life through.
Right. And I'm not trying to say that in any way that Louis C.K. masturbating is art. That's not.
No, that's not art. That's sexual.
That's not what we're getting to at all.
That ain't art.
But I think it's kind of a dangerous society to live in when we're taking these social, when we're taking justice into our own hands in a way, because we are shaming people and making people pay, and there are repercussions for whatever we feel is bad at the time. And so, kind of like societal standards of things that are okay do change. And I'm not saying that sexual assault will ever be okay, but also like just think about time. There's some like housing Jews used to be considered a bad thing to do. It was
sexual assault
illegal.
used to be commonplace.
Yeah,
I mean, it still is.
A white person loving a black person.
Oh.
So there's things that throughout time that have been considered like bad or that you should be shamed for that certainly are not shameful. Quite the opposite. So I just think it's like we really need to like kind of keep ourselves in check. And I know you're like, oh, but Corinne, this behavior is clearly bad. And like, yes,
yeah,
it is clearly bad, but also pump the brakes. And there are levels here. Okay, Louis C.K. not even close to Weinstein or Cosby. Not even close. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Asking someone to masturbate in front of them is way different. It is also not okay, but if you punch someone in the face and give them a black eye, or if you murder them, both bad, but way different.
Very true. But the thing, I don't know. I know a lot of the people. So in this New York Times article, it highlighted 5 women, the comedy duo, which I thought it was different.
We thought it was someone else. It's actually an unknown comedy duo.
Yeah. I
wah,
never.
wah.
But I feel like maybe one of the reasons that is because they did speak out. They did tell someone. They told their manager. I forget who.
Yeah.
And then fucking David Becky, who's Louis' manager, was the one who like came to them and was like, "Hey, can you not do that about my client?" And so it's not so often people do try to get justice like the quote unquote legitimate way, meaning go tell somebody, tell the police, tell your man, tell the person in charge of the project that the guy's doing this to. And one thing though that I do not think is ever okay, it's a different level than Harvey, but if I'm working with you, if you're women in the workplace, it feels like every time we start a new job, it's like, ugh, who am I going to have to fend off now? It really is, in the back of my mind, it's not a thing that stresses me out and makes me lose sleep by any means, but it is casually always in the back of our mind because you shouldn't be putting your coworkers in uncomfortable positions, whether you are in charge of them, they are in charge, anything. You just don't fucking do that. Work is a professional environment.
Right. But the only thing is, though, I mean, so many people fall in love on set.
And that's great when it's mutual.
Right. But it's hard because, like, it's then, like, at some point, someone has to make the first move because I know.
Yeah, but can I jerk off in front of you?
No, that's
bad
separate.
Move.
That's separate. But I do know instances of, like, people kind of feeling, and, however you feel is how you feel, but feeling like they were, harassed or assaulted from a coworker asking them out just because they didn't feel the same way. And you could say no, asking you out. Yeah, I think we have to. I mean, whatever.
If your teacher asks you out,
that
not okay.
Well,
if your
no,
teacher asks you out, that's an example.
I feel
like
age difference.
People know in their heart of hearts, they know when something is like, oh, this is not okay.
Sure.
When they're with regards to being asked out, but if you ask, yeah, I agree. It's not. You say no, and then you don't fucking talk about it again.
But I know multiple women who then feel uncomfortable because someone that they were not interested in asked them out, and I think
that's feeling bad.
I think that's unfair of us as women. I've certainly felt uncomfortable. I think in that you have to realize people have the right to ask you out. I mean, I know we're supposed to not dip your pen in the company ink, but like we're when you're really
We're
busy,
human.
when you're a really busy person, also, like, where the fuck else are you gonna meet people besides work? Like, I
Company Inc.
consistently meet people at work, and you know, there is that big difference of like, you know, like, oh, if people who are catcalling us were hot, would we mind less? So I think that is something to be talked about. And so, like, just because if someone asks you out and you do not like them, you can't feel threatened by that, as long as once you say no, they
Respect that.
They respect your no and they leave it alone.
Dude, I have asked men out at work. I'm a huge, and I can't stress this enough, women in straight relationship or bi, ask men out. Women should be asking. Ask men out.
I've asked men out.
I think I've asked men out my whole fucking life.
And honestly,
I
it
hate
usually
that
goes well.
Well, not for me, but I hate that the
Oh.
expectation is, I'm going to wait for the man to come to me. And the man proposes, and the man, fuck that shit.
Right.
I think that we should know. Whoever's interested first, when it's appropriate, ask the person out. Who gives a shit if you're the woman?
Yeah, didn't Pink propose to her husband? If not, she definitely had talked about, like, if he didn't do it soon, she was going to.
I wanted to propose to Steven so bad, and I asked, what would you think if I did that? And he's like, no. I'm like, but don't be confined in the box society has
Right,
you,
but you guys
Steven.
there's already a power
understand.
dynamic there, so it, like...
No, I understand. Yeah. There's a lot of layers in addition, too.
So
But
I think if, like, you know, maybe if he was, you know, if it was different circumstances but same people, I think it could work.
Yeah, I asked guys out. The first day job that I had out of college, I asked a guy out, and then he literally had to come over my apartment and say, Christina, I don't want to be your boyfriend. I never wanted to be your boyfriend. And I was like, okay, thanks for being honest. I mean, it's fine. See you.
Right. Well, you are very persistent.
I am, and I want to. If there's any possibility and I'm interested, I'm gonna make you tell me no, because the second you do, respect, moving on.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with no. Feeling rejected is not fun. No shit, it's not fun. Like, no one's like, I love it. Unless, you know, it's a kink, but, you know, that's something different.
I don't hate it, though, because for me, when someone says that they don't want to go out with me, I kind of immediately don't like them anymore because I think they have bad...
I guess you have bad taste.
Yeah, I think they have bad taste, truly.
But this is interesting. I've been reading, somebody had tweeted us and they emailed us too, the article The Cut has done about why men force young women who don't want to watch a masturbate to watch a masturbate.
Right.
And a lot of men hate themselves.
A lot of people hate themselves, but yeah.
A lot of people, but I really noticed specifically from men, like, they hate their dicks.
Well,
and
men
they
act out sexually, I
Not
think.
all, of course, but I didn't know that this was as common as it is. But, like, sometimes dudes just think they're a huge piece of shit, and I'm like, no. And that's why maybe they act like a piece of shit, because they're internalizing it. But basically, this psychologist said with regards to men forcing people to watch them masturbate, which is a form of sexual assault, if you didn't know, it is, that they hate themselves and they want to get an emotion that they feel in their head out onto the other person, out onto that woman, and by belittling her and by making her feel the way that he feels about himself. I'm like, that's not good.
Right.
How do we fix that?
I mean, this is
Men should take a spa day.
a culture change.
Men are never encouraged to share their feelings, and they're never encouraged to, like, women are always like, we work too hard, like, you know, take a break when you need it, take a day, take a think and relax. And
I mean,
zen
too
and
much
meditate.
so, I think.
Too much so, but I'm like, let's give some of that to the men, because it's a human need, not a woman need. To take time for yourself and to do things that are nice for yourself.
Well, I think what that is, you know, I think that was just someone kind of like in a backwards way, kind of pointing out that women work harder than men.
Really hard, because they have to sometimes.
Without rewards.
Yeah, well, it's like people of color a lot of times have to work way harder for the same amount of credit, if not less, than the white person.
Well, and also traditionally, a lot of the work that women are doing, I think there's no like monetary reward. So you're a mom, you're keeping the house clean, you're cooking dinner. There's no monetary award. There's no, raise you're going to get. There's no promotion you're going to get. So I think a lot of times people will like take a spa day because that's the only kind of reward that you can have.
True.
That's the only reason why I think that's more encouraged. But I mean, for men, like, yeah, like, you know, spending a Sunday watching sports or something. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Just please don't make me do it with you.
Oh my God, don't. don't buy me a jersey.
Oh.
Don't ask me if I want to be in the fantasy league.
Oh my god.
So, do you want to read the because so today for today's podcast
the guest is they're two women
comedians
who are very funny,
like really cool and great,
like, they
charming,
can make babies
and, like,
in their belly.
One's a brunette, one's a blonde.
They wrote a book.
Tits. And like Corinne Fisher and Christina Hutchinson.
Woo! It's us. Okay, it's us. And we promise you it's not because anyone canceled. We actually planned to do an episode of just us. You know, it's in time for Thanksgiving. This is we want to thank you by taking up the entire podcast
with your lettuce.
To ourselves.
No, but I was just telling Corinne last week, like, oh man, I've been neglecting the inbox. Sorry about last night's show at gmail.com.
I haven't been. I've been flagging it.
And then I'm reading through it the past couple of days. I'm like, we have so many great emails, and I feel like we have to skip them when we do the intros
because there's been so many rapes lately. So rape is now raping our inbox.
Yeah. So maybe stop complaining and also stop raping. I know that
we've had to talk about sexual assault and rape so much that we haven't had time to read from our letters from our listeners, and that's fucking God's honest truth.
So I have an email about the Louis thing that this guy sent. That
we have
is really
several.
Interesting. So do you want to read the statement? His apologies. So if you don't know what we're talking about, the New York Times have published a piece, naming a couple of the women that have been sexually assaulted by Louis C.K. So one person wanted to be anonymous, and then one person he had apologized to, and he said, "Sorry for shoving you in the bathroom," and the woman was like, "That wasn't me. Just like jerked off in front of me." And I'm like, "Oh shit, who you shove in the bathroom?"
Wow.
But no, I don't know. But
so
anyway,
it was 5 women.
Yes,
right?
And he did make a statement the next day or something.
Yeah, right away, because he knew he did it. So, and this is the statement. I want to address the stories told to the New York Times by 5 women named Abby, Rebecca, Dana, Julia, who felt able to name themselves, and one who did not. These stories are true. At the time, I said to myself that what I did was okay because I never showed a woman my dick without asking first, which is also true. But what I learned later in life, too late, is that when you have power over another person, asking them to look at your dick isn't a question. It's a predicament for them. The power I had over these women is that they admired me, and I wielded that power irresponsibly. I have been remorseful of my actions, and I've tried to learn from them and run from them. Now I'm aware of the extent of the impact of my actions. I learned yesterday the extent to which I left these women who admired me feeling badly about themselves and cautious around their men who would never have put them in that position. I also took advantage of the fact that I was widely admired in my and their community, which disabled them from sharing their story and brought hardship to them when they tried because people who look up to me didn't want to hear it. I didn't think that I was doing any of that because my position allowed me not to think about it. There is nothing about this that I forgive myself for, and I have to reconcile it with who I am, which is nothing compared to the task I left them with. I wish I had reacted to their admiration of me by being a good example to them as a man and given them some guidance as a comedian, including because I admired their work. The hardest regret to live with is that what you've done to hurt someone else. It is what you've done to hurt someone else, and I can hardly wrap my head around the scope of hurt I brought on them. I'd be remiss to exclude the hurt that I've brought on people who I work with and have worked with whose professional and personal lives, it did bother me, he used the wrong whose, professional and personal lives have been impacted by all of this, including projects currently in production, the cast and crew of Better Things, Baskets, The Cops, One Mississippi, and I Love You, Daddy. I deeply regret that this has brought negative attention to my manager, Dave Becky, who only tried to mediate a situation that I caused. I've brought anguish and hardship to the people at FX who have given me so much, the Orchard who took a chance on my movie, and every other entity that has bet on me through the years. I've brought pain to my family, my friends, my children, and their mother. I have spent my long and lucky career talking and saying anything I want. I will now step back and take a long time to listen. Thank you for reading. I mean,
hey. fucking, if he said he didn't do it, I would have been like, oh,
Right.
I would have smashed a vase.
Well, the first thing, I think in this day and age, no one's going to be fucking happy with anything. And not that we're going to pat him on the back. It's like you shouldn't have been doing this to begin with. However,
You're not a hero for not assaulting.
he did it. He cannot undo it. He has not done things like this in a long time. So I think when he says that later on in his career he realized that this was fucked up, I think maybe he's serious. Also, as your daughters get older, you probably think to yourself, oh my fucking God, like,
what if somebody did that to them?
as you're
They're gonna know I did it.
Exactly. And I think that really is something that you can't experience that kind of love or feelings for someone, especially someone of the opposite sex, until you are raising someone like that. And I do believe that, I mean, for the God's sakes, even the love, I loved dogs before, and the love I feel for a fucking dog at this point is just like, I really can't explain it. So I get that. And I think it's great that he started off with like, hey, this is true. Because listen, I think he obviously has some kind of a problem. And in any 12-step program, the first step is admitting that you have a problem.
Yes.
Okay?
And there was one actress that had criticized him for not saying he was sorry. He said he felt remorseful, but I'm like, even if he said that, how do you know he meant? You know what I mean? Like,
he's a comedian. Saying I'm sorry is hack. I think remorseful is stronger.
Right. Well, that's one of the reasons why comedians are my favorite people in the world. And Louis C.K. is an example. He is a really talented comedian, and it's okay to still think that. He's also done some very shitty things, and it's okay to have both. To think both.
Well,
and if you
they're
don't,
both facts.
Yes. And so for me personally, my personal threshold of personal life overlapping with art is Bill Cosby is someone that I can't watch The Cosby Show. I can't, because I can't not think of all the women he raped. And that's me. But if you can, that's you. Mm-hmm. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. But that is your thing. My personal thing with Bill Cosby, I don't want to take in any of the things that he does. I don't want to see his face, because I just think of rape.
And drugging people. That's so much more over the top.
Yeah. And so, again, not that this isn't good, that what Louis did, but I've known it for years, and I've seen him. I still watch his special, Right. But this is an interesting email we got from a guy. He said, there is a line of the story in the New York Times story that says, hoping that outrage would build against Louis C.K. and also to shame him, they began telling others about the incident the next day, them being the two girls. The incident involved Louis inviting Dana Goodman and Julie Wolof to his hotel room, asking if he could take out his penis and then masturbate, and they were paralyzed, screaming and laughing in shock. They stayed until he ejaculated and left. Admittedly, a huge fan of Louis, it's hard to stomach this story, and I find myself wanting desperately to defend him because of the relative tameness of his acts compared to Harvey Weinstein or Bill Cosby. But I realize he took advantage of his position and put all those women in a terribly uncomfortable situation. But as a dude, I can't understand why Goodman and Wolof would sit through the entire act of Louis masturbating and then choose to walk out. They say they were paralyzed, but being paralyzed doesn't often involve screaming with laughter. Louis clearly is a disturbed individual and needs help, but that doesn't excuse him from any repercussions that come from sexually harassing his coworkers, which he did too many times. Nevertheless, as the anti-slut-shaming dual voice of our generation, thank you.
Oh, is that us?
Yeah. I think. I'm curious what the both of you think of Goodman and Wolof's motivation to reveal the Louis behavior. Wanting to expose him for using a position of power to get away with sexual harassment is one thing, but wanting to shame him for a weird sexual perversion is another. It's not. I don't necessarily feel that the latter was the women's motivation, but I do feel that Louis is a troubled person with a perversion. You both have such an open and progressive view on sex, and I'm dying to hear your take on it. Is Louis a sexual predator or just a sad, perverse dude? Would love to hear from you, perverse, I mean, maybe the dictionary definition of perverse is different than what I have in my head, but I mean, I wouldn't call what he did perverted. I would call what he did sexual harassment, sexual assault. And the freezing and not running out of the room thing, part of it, when they were screaming and laughing. I'm the kind of person, I know everyone's different, but sometimes when something really bad happens, I do this thing where I freeze and I laugh. Mm-hmm. And I don't
Nervous
know
laughter,
why.
Yeah.
And I don't...
It's common.
Yeah, it's nervousness, for sure.
Yeah.
And shock. And if somebody of that stature in a career that I was also in did that to me, I would be like, wait, what? I would leave to go to my hotel room that night going, wait, what? A month later, I'd probably be like, wait, what? I totally understand that reaction that those girls had. I understand anybody's reaction because that is their reaction. They're not lying. That is how their brain and body and mind reacted to what was happening. And I think it makes a lot of sense because you don't want to know, you don't want to believe that it's happening. You don't want to put this guy in the fucking file in your head of people who are pieces of shit. You don't want to do that. So I think it's a mix of fighting that, being in shock, and that's it.
I also think there's something very interesting about how fucked up Louis has to be to continue to masturbate in front of two girls who are screaming and laughing. I think that speaks volumes about, yes. I mean, and it's also, like the Louis you see on stage, I mean, this kind of like guy confident in his not confidence that's not what comedians are like. I mean, I think it's like, as comedians, like comedians are a fucked up people. Christina and I are by far some of the most normal comedians.
It's true.
We know, and we talk about that a lot. I mean, a lot of good friends are comedians, and when I say
I'm still got fucked up shit about me,
right? And when I say like every year, they become like, I am more and more just shocked at things that have happened or thoughts that they have. That's not me over dramatizing it. Like, I'm consistently shocked by my comedian friends and things they've been through and things they think and their kind of outlook on life.
Yeah. And with me, for Louis, the reason why I really admired him, I don't admire him anymore because he's a little tainted in my head now, but he's still a great comedian. One of the things that he did that I thought was so different was he let everyone in on every dark, pathetic, sad corner of his mind. And that's what I thought was so brilliant about him. And to me, is maybe kind of fucked up, but it's because I'm a comic. I'm like, fuck you. So you would go to all these other places and you wouldn't go there with us? Go fuck yourself. I don't know. There's a part of me that was really, I always thought comedians are the only people that can really talk about the difficult shit, which is why we love having comedian guests come on who have been through something really traumatic, because they're going to talk about it in a way that they could usually laugh at it. And if a person listening had the same thing happen and they can't laugh about it, a lot of times it helps them just to hear somebody not be damaged. Their whole life isn't affected by this. And so that's what I love about comedians. And I, for the longest time when I started hearing those allegations years ago, I was like, just fucking get on, talk about it. It doesn't make it better, but come on.
But I think he was trying to let us know, because in this new piece that's now halted, there was a character in it who was masturbating in public. So I think he realized he needed to say it. But I think the reason he didn't was because perhaps this was the thing that he felt most ashamed about. And just because, someone is pretty open in telling us things does not mean that they don't feel shame.
Yeah.
And again, as John Ronson pointed out, shame is the root of why people act out violently. And this, I think, certainly was an act of sexual violence. And then just to go back to the word perverse, he did use it accurately.
Okay.
Because it's showing a deliberate and obstinate desire to behave in a way that is unreasonable or unacceptable, often in spite of the consequences. So
millennials are really ruining words, and I put myself in that group.
Well, because people use words like perverse and brave. They use words that are too strong for the
hyperbolic.
For the things that they are describing. So yeah, because I'm like, what is just plain pervert?
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm such a perv, but like I don't do that. I fucking control myself.
Right.
Do you want to read some emails?
Yeah, and just like pervert, the noun is just a person whose sexual behavior is regarded as abnormal and unacceptable. So pervert and perverse are aligned.
I guess I'm not a pervert.
Yeah, no. I think I think as a society we kind of use pervert incorrectly. When we say pervert when we mean someone who just has a kink a lot of times.
Yeah.
And that's confusing.
Yeah, because that's not accurate.
Right. And I think it's interesting that you pointed that out, because that also makes it hard for us to say, is this person just a pervert, or are they a person with a kink? So we got to confuse.
Right, and
like
those are
some
different.
people thought Louis was a person with a kink. No, Louis is a pervert.
Yes, yeah.
But being a pervert is bad, whereas
Yeah.
having a kink is not.
Having a kink is, the kink community is consent is the number one thing that is sacred in the kink community. And if you, also, if you live in a place that has a Babeland or a pleasure chest, if you live in a big city, they have really awesome workshops on everything from like, how do I stick a dick in my ass, like, and not bleed forever, and then kink and consent and. Take a class if you're near one.
Well, the only
it's
thing
free and I recommend it.
The only thing is, do you want to stay on topic for this?
Oh, that one, yes.
Okay,
Because that's an uncomfortable question that we were asked that I want to answer.
Right. I mean, because the only other email I had in my hand was kind of someone basically saying that we had, we got a lot of tweets saying that we had talked about this Louis stuff long before the New York Times. Thank you, we had. And us and Gawker had dropped this news a long time ago.
Gawker, yeah.
And this girl is just saying that she had written or she had the opportunity to ask the director of communications at Planned Parenthood, Alencia Johnson, what we should do about kind of all this sexual assault that's happening. We all know there are many more people using power for their own sexual gain. And she said to use social media to bring light to these attacks, start a campaign, have influencers write open letters, and name people to gain traction and put pressure on companies to hold them accountable and put better systems in place. Listen, I think we're already doing this for the most part. And I have to disagree with this recommendation, even though this is an amazing person, the director of communications for Planned Parenthood. I have to disagree with this. I think, yes, we should, start a campaign is great, even though, anytime someone starts a new nonprofit, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of egotistical. There's a fucking 1,000 nonprofits
that
out
need
there
your money.
that need your money, that are already up and working, that are doing the thing that you want to do. So just like hop on board with that. Hop on board with, rain.org. And there is a company out there or a nonprofit that's already doing probably the thing that you want. So to start your little thing just to gain attention, that's your own issue. But it really is. I mean, it's every fucking celebrity does it, and it's like, because I was thinking I would love to start a thing for sex trafficking. No, you know what I should do? Just
help the one that's already there, getting money and helping.
My fucking money, because I'm not. Because the reason you truly want to do something is to help, not to highlight yourself as a philanthropist.
Yeah, and he's good. It's good that he starts.
Oh,
he's super fucking famous and really rich, and he's the perfect person to draw attention.
And he cares, and he's doing a great job. Like you really can tell he cares. And so people are already getting fired. I just think it's dangerous to start when it's the sentence that really bothered me was to name people to gain traction and put pressure on companies. That was really alarming to me. And if we just start naming names, like that's how, because it's like, think about the shit in your past. Is your past 100% squeaky clean? What's going to be the next thing? I do think if you are a victim of that person sexually assaulting you, I think
obviously, the Louis thing is an example of somebody naming names after not naming names in public, and that's good. I think if you're the victim, what you do is what you do. I'm not going to tell them, but I know personally, you and I know very famous people that have committed sexual assault there's a million Louis C.K.'s. There's so many famous comedians right now that everybody listening will know who they are that I've heard horrible stories about from multiple people. Like and I'm not going to sit here and go this person and this person, because what the fuck is that? I don't know what that's going to do. It's a problem. Can you believe me? It's a problem.
And it is. I think, but rather than starting some internet campaign or naming names, I think it's, starting educating young people on the proper way to interact with the sex that they are attracted to. I think that's the issue. Social media, I'm very nervous about social media. I think it's really gotten out of hand, and I don't know that that's the best way to approach it. And especially because now we're having conversations where we really are lumping Louis C.K. right in with Harvey Weinstein, and it's just they are very different. There are layers there. So this next one, the subject line is just Andy Dick, so I opened it. Hi ladies, I'm a longtime fucker. I found the podcast about 10 months in and have listened to every episode. I've shared your podcast with friends and family members for years now because I think you're funny and thoughtful, and maybe most most importantly, you have an amazing ability to honestly discuss important issues the rest of society is too uncomfortable to talk about. I said that word weird. So first, before anything else, I want to say thanks for making my and many others' lives better. Thanks. Christina's willingness to openly discuss the allegations against Louis C.K. before the New York Times article is a perfect example of that openness and honesty. And while I think your platform is well situated to discuss allegations of sexual assault and harassment, Corinne's long reading of the full allegations against Harvey Weinstein was particularly powerful. I don't believe